Hello, my name is G again, and I'm here to talk about something that I always wanted to talk about. Just kidding, no. As I just kidding, no. I never thought I'd make this video, or I'd ever talk about this until now. It just came to me one day, today actually, when I was watching Sword Art Online. As the title of the video suggests, I'm here to argue for, or basically spout some truth, that Sword Art Online is probably one of the most important anime to have ever been created or have received an adaptation from a light novel. It is by far one of the most influential anime ever created, as well as I said before, important. Because the importance is really the influence part. Or I would say that it has as much influence as something such as Death Note in terms of what it elicits in the anime community, as well as what it really jump started. So as you can see on my screen here, as usual, I'm not really much good at editing, so I'll just talk about this. This is from 2017, but anime style novel contest in Japan's banned alternate reality stories and teen protagonists. So we'll start with that. So basically in this article, it talks about how Kadokawa, if I'm correct, basically there was like this contest and they banned basically isekais. Anything with isekais, which is another world, so alternate realities, and teen protagonists. And why is this in their light novels? Why is this they banned this in their light novels? Well, it's because that there was an oversaturation of just these male protagonists that, with all these male protagonist characters, teen protagonists. We'll say teens because that's what the title says. So there might have been girls, a lot of girls too. You know, I'm not the most knowledgeable in light novels, but I do know that there was a huge oversaturation of basically isekais, where everyone was just writing isekai after isekai after isekai after isekai into these light novels. I mean, you had stuff, and then because they were trying to get to some cash grabs. And then anime, as you know, basically every season you have like 10, 20 isekais that no one else remembers. Who here remembers Kenja no Mago? Fuck me, it was a god awful one. Who here fucking remembers? God, there's some awful ones out there actually that I like. They're literally I don't remember them because I don't I don't really remember them as a general rule actually. But there was a lot of light novels came as an afterwards. We're all set around this isekai protagonist character, and you had some very interesting ones like ReZero and Konosuba. God, I was about to say I couldn't think of another one, but Konosuba very funny and ReZero is very good. But then you just had a lot of trash, which one of the ones I just named was Kenja no Mago. Other than that, I really don't remember. I'd have to go into my mind banks, and I don't feel like it. it's mediocrity or just trash. Not even trash, garbage. Like, just shit. Shit. Trash is like, you can watch trash, but shit, it's shit. But what started this, you may ask? I give you the answer. What started this craze of isekai? This thing right here, this demon baby, known as Sword Art Online, as I've already said before. You got this cute Kirito character, and basically, what Sword Art Online did was basically shape an actual generation of anime. Right? I'm not kidding. It literally isekais were not a thing until Sword Art Online came along. They came along like 2011, 2012. Right? Literally, this show is literally the impetus that allowed for the popularity of isekais to come out in full force as it did. And it's also the reason why you have so much isekai light novels, so much more isekai manga, so much more isekai everything, where different people are writing it because they're trying to basically emulate this formula of Sword Art Online, which was so popular back in the day. Right, as I've heard. I mean, it's such a famous show that it's so famous that it's extremely polarizing. Right, everyone's heard of Sword Art Online once you are in the anime community, and everyone has an opinion on it. Right, either you hate the show or you love the show, or you could be like me. Well, rarely you're gonna find people like me. Either you love the show or you hate the show. I'm more of the I like it enough that I'm still watching it to this day. Right, I started I think back in I think this is the second show I ever watched back in, I think, 2015 or no, 2016. Right, I watched it. I watched the first two seasons. Right, back in 2016. Yeah. Um, and it was just a very God. It was a very It's a very show. I thought it was great at the time. Now I look back, it's not that good. It's kind of, as the show goes, it's kind of meh. But I cannot state the importance that this is one of the most influential shows of all time. Because again, like I said, this show literally created every isekai that you like, that you enjoy, that could have had an adaptation. Literally, you have to thank SAO for that, because without the popularity of SAO, no one was gonna really do isekai. So I mean, who here remembers any isekai before SAO? Maybe there's like I can't think of any. I would have to go really back in time and have to find some. Maybe Inuyasha could possibly be it, but Inuyasha isn't really even like this idea of the genre of isekai, which is this idea that you are transported to another world and you just have this fucking power trip, right? Which is what isekai is most synonymous with, right? But Inuyasha isn't really like that, but still technically an isekai. But and before, isekai wasn't even like a genre, right? It's just, Yu Yu Hakusho technically is the isekai because he's transported to a dead world, like a heaven world, and then he comes back, right? It wasn't a genre before SAO. It was just like a plot thing that you would have. Maybe you get transported to another world. I think Bakugan had one. Did Pokemon technically have one with Celebi? I mean, that's going back in time. So no, it's not. It's not. Same world. But it's besides the point is it wasn't a genre. Like it's not a genre during that time. Now because of SAO, it's a fucking genre. Like you literally have like tropes that go along with isekais. What exactly do you expect when you're watching an isekai? All sorts of things. You expect that the character gets killed. The character gets transported in some way, right? Usually killed, killed is a big one, right? There's fucking overpowered. Like, come on. I mean, I reincarnated as a slime. Like, fuck me. Like anything can go with this shit. And like even just the slime anime, as I like to call it, is just an overpowered character, Rimuru, doing whatever the fuck he wants, right? It's the same idea as that SAO created a genre out of just the one concept of transported to another world. Which anime can say that they transformed a plot point to become an actual genre? Who can say that? Maybe one of the mecha shows, but that's it. That's it. And mecha right now is dying. It's a dying thing. No one's really watching it anymore. There hasn't been any good mecha shows other than maybe SSS Gridman, and even then, there just hasn't been a lot. Code Kiosks. There were some movies, but it's like you have to be a hardcore fan to get into. Isekai, you don't have to. You can just get into it no matter what. And Isekai is something that basically defined the 2010s. Early 2012 comes out. Isekai after isekai after isekai after isekai after isekai after isekai. Like every season of anime that I've been on, usually I've seen 10, 20, like 5, 10, maybe even 20 isekais at some point, right? It's crazy just the amount that comes out. And there's literal, like, it feels like there's just literal anime studios that are literally dedicated to just creating isekais, right? And so isekai is this force, and it's still, I don't know. I mean, the last two seasons, there hasn't been as much, but there's still been some isekais, but it's not been as much as I thought it would be. So maybe isekais right now is starting to peter out. But either way, to be able to almost basically be here for almost 10 years, define basically a whole decade, a whole generation of anime in this way, it's something that everyone here knows. And who do we have to thank for it? Whether or not you want to thank them or not, I'm sorry. Kirito and his crew and his wife Asuna. Are they wife? They're not wife and husband yet. We'll just no, actually no. Yeah, we'll just say they are. And SAO literally is the reason why we have so much isekais now. And they're the impetus, the godfather of isekai, right? They're the ones that influenced a whole generation and created a genre. We shouldn't just think of SAO as this shitty ass show or a mediocre show, right? We should think of SAO as what it is, one of the most important, most influential, and it is on par of its importance and influence as Death Note, as Neon Genesis Evangelion, as Code Geass, right? This show is just that influential, in my opinion, and I'll fight anyone on that opinion. Peace.